Hi guys, story recaps here. I am going to explain a 2018 American post-apocalyptic horror film called A Quiet Place. Please try to like or dislike the video, it is important to us. The market is shown in the first scene in a haunting place. And the wind is gentle. Everything appears to be in a disorganized condition within the lone market. Then, one by one, family members appear, and a running child, the youngest son of this family, is seen. On the other side, a deaf girl named Regan walks around barefoot. After some time, their mother appears and takes a medication jar off a shelf. She takes medicine from a jar and gives it to her youngest son. The same young boy then grabs a toy from another shelf but loses his grip. Regan snatches that toy as it rushes ahead to avoid making any noise. We all know Regan is a wise girl. Following that, the youngest boy goes to his father Lee, who communicates with his mother by using sign language. There is no spoken language, only sign language is used. Because any noise could put their lives in danger from a deadly creature. Regan and his father Lee pack a video camera and other items into a bag, and shortly Regan's mother comes with her oldest son Marcus. She asks them to come home before evening. Then the same youngest son appears, holding a space shuttle toy, and Father Lee takes the toy and removes its batteries, preventing any sound. The family then walks outdoors, but the youngest son grabs the battery from the table as he leaves. Everyone in the family is barefoot. This family walks through a forest to get to their home. And their youngest son is at the end. Family members are shocked to hear the sound of the space shuttle toy. It is known that the youngest boy activated the toy, after refilling its battery. Father Lee runs to rescue his son's life, but he is killed by terrible creatures before he arrives. The family's youngest son has died. In this story, people fight to survive in a world where blind, sound-sensitive, and frightening animals hunt on them. This family had already told all members to remain silent, yet the creature kills the youngest boy. Sign language is used by family members to communicate with one another. Now, after more than 2 years, Regan is seen lying in the field, opens her eyes, and walks with her mother. Lee, on the other hand, is keeping an eye on them through a CCTV monitor in a room. And text can be seen here as survival, blind, and medical support. It's about deadly creatures. There are also a lot of newspapers. Lee attempts to communicate with the outside world, but is always unsuccessful. Lee walks outside to find his elder son turning the steering wheel of a stalled car. Looking at his father, Marcus walks inside, to his mother, who appears to be busy making dinner quietly. The family then dines quietly together. Everyone in the family was sitting around the table, holding each other's hands. They pray for one another forever since they will live together forever. All of them start their dinner. Regan and her brother are playing a game, when they dropped a lamp that spreads flames and makes noise. Lee extinguishes the flames and looks up. He requests his kids to be quiet. It's late at night, and a bird sings outside, and the lamp shakes. Lee's son begins to cry as he apologizes for the thing that has fallen because of him. The deadly creature arrives but leaves without causing any harm. Lee is in charge of everything. Lee now creates hearing aids for his deaf daughter Regan. He spreads sand on the front of the home the next day. Then Regan is seen walking on tiptoe and moving to the house's basement, where someone tries to grab her tightly. Lee says, "You can't go downstairs," and he gives advice to Regan in sign language. Regan gestures, "I am not a child and I will not make a sound." Lee gives her the hearing amplifier, but Regan knows it won't work as well as it used to, and she won't be able to hear. Lee walks away after handing her the device. Later, Lee goes to teach Marcus new skills. Marcus expresses hesitation to go when speaking with his mother. Marcus is actually terrified of a deadly creature. His mother, though, assures him of his father's safety using sign language. And it is vital for you to learn these skills. He simply wishes to inform you of how you can care for me and yourself. When I'm old and have no teeth. Marcus relaxes and walks outside after she smiles. Then Regan appears, and through gesture she says, "Let's go." Lee, on the other hand, desires that she stay at home, so that she may assist her mother. Regan demands but becomes angry when she is not taken. In a rage, she storms into her house and turns on her hearing aid to see whether it works. Regan misses her brother, who was killed by a deadly beast. She prepares her bag to leave the house. On the other hand, Lee trains his son to catch fish. Rivers flowing water makes a lot of noise. Lee catches a fish, and the fish flaps, making a lot of noise. Marcus is terrified that deadly creatures will hear us. However, Lee informs him by gestures that water noise is louder than any other sound, and so they are unable to perceive this little sound. You are safe in this area. Then Marcus brings up Regan, asking, "Why didn't you allow Regan to come?" He asks, "Do you blame her responsible for my younger brother's death?" Lee dismisses the question. Marcus also claims that Regan feels bad about what happened. Lee goes on to say that no one is to blame and that Regan is his daughter. Following that, father and son travel to the forest, where they come across a terrified old guy with a bloody dead body on the ground. Lee warns the old men to be quiet. But the old guy screams in pain, and Lee quickly drags Marcus aside and hides behind a tree. Then, on his way there, a deadly creature kills an old man. Regan's mother's foot is pierced through a nail on the stairs at the home. Because of her intense pain, a glass frame falls from her hands and makes a loud noise. Then she quickly lifts her foot from the nail, and as she falls, she lights the red lights. Because she is aware that a deadly creature has awakened, because of this sound. That deadly creature can be seen in the basement's upper floor. She is in pain, but she remains quiet. She has been crying but has not made a sound. This deadly creature's screams are never ending. When Lee and Marcus return home, they discover that their house has been red lighted. Regan's mother is believed to be in danger. That deadly creature is seeking her with its senses. When the alarm clock goes off, it moves towards it. Outside the home, Lee hands Marcus a torch and a rocket and gestures for him to go ahead, saying, "I need you to make a louder sound. Your mother is likewise in need of your help." Marcus is terrified, but he agrees. The deadly creature is still inside the house. Marcus hurriedly blows up a rocket, resulting in a loud firework. Hearing the sound, this beast walks towards it. Lee enters the house with his gun, finds his wife safe, and the newborn baby in her arms. Marcus is still standing outside the home. Marcus, on the other hand, quickly begins to run, believing that a deadly creature is after him. And he makes his way through the field. Regan reaches out into the dark and observes Marcus' torch. When the deadly creature is precisely behind Regan, she turns on her amplifier to hear the sound, but all she hears is a whistling sound. The monster also tries to hear the sound, but is unable to do so. After that, the creature leaves the area. Someone catches Regan's hand as she walks to the torch and begins to pick it up. But that was Marcus. They both embrace one another. Regan's mother is fine at home, while the newborn baby is kept inside a soundproof box, wearing an oxygen mask. Regan's mother inquires about Marcus, but Lee comforts him by saying, Marcus is at the location where he blew up the rocket, and he is okay. According to Regan's mother, Regan is intelligent enough to care for herself. She also takes Lee's promises concerning her children's safety carefully. Lee then goes outside. Because Lee has gone outdoors, Emily is now alone at home. Some time has passed. Her child is also there. A water line is shown to be broken, and water floods the basement where Regan's mother is present with her newborn baby. Suddenly, that deadly creature arrives, and it detects the sound in the water. Regan's mother is terrified of the creature in front of her. But she is unable to make a sound, and she is also terrified of a baby crying, which could alert that deadly creature. Regan and Marcus are at the grain soil, and they ignite the fire as a signal for their father. Then Regan wants to escape, but Marcus refuses. Marcus's foot becomes trapped while walking and he is dangling. Regan stops him from moving, since the hatch door was making a lot of noise. After a while, the hatch door is broken, and the door with Marcus falls to the floor, making a sound. As a result, the focus of the deadly creature is diverted from Regan's mother to this disturbance, and it moves towards it. Marcus has collapsed, so Regan rushes after him and gets stuck in corn. She starts drowning in corn. Marcus dragged her out, grabbing her hand. After a moment, the deadly creature appears in front of them, but they both remain motionless, closing the hatch door in front of them. As a result, that beast leaves them, having discovered nothing. Lee eventually locates his children after a prolonged search. The sound of a deadly creature can be heard once more. He tells both children to hide in a pickup truck. And they leave. Lee approaches the deadly beast with his axe in hand to attack. However, the deadly creature throws Lee away. Marcus screams out to his father from the pickup truck, but he swiftly gets into it. When Creatures hears the sound of Marcus, he becomes aware and moves to the pickup truck. It shatters the truck's window glass by shaking it violently. On the other hand, injured Lee bravely redirects the creature's focus back to him. Lee gestures and Lee simply wants to remind Regan that he always loves her. Regan smiles with delight as she looks at it. Regan's mother keeps an eye on everything via CCTV monitors. Suddenly, Lee yells, and the deadly creature rushes from the kids' pickup trucks, killing Lee. Lee gives up his life to ensure the protection of his family. It is seen that Regan's mother, with her family, enters the house armed with a rifle. And Regan walks to her father's CCTV monitor's room, crying because she misses her father. Coming to her mother, she, too, is in tears. Marcus is holding a newborn baby. Lamp shivers instantly. When the deadly creature returns to the house, Regan's mother raises her rifle at it. No one speaks, and the silence is maintained. However, upon hearing radio connection sounds, the creature moves and destroys all monitors. Regan looks at the text written there and wonders, what is the weakness? It's all about this creature. The whistling sound of Regan's amplifier can still be heard. She notices that the deadly creature is irritated. We can deduce from this, that the whistle sound is the weak spot of the deadly creature that disturbs it. Regan tweaks it in the microphone, so the deadly creature avoids it and escapes. And the deadly creature flees. After a while, the deadly creature reappears, but it is dead from the gunshot to the head fired by Regan's mother. Then Regan and her mother continue to observe those running deadly creatures outdoors through CCTV cameras. Regan's mother grins and makes a sign. Regan tweaks the hearing amplifier again in the microphone, as she sets the rifle. As a result, it is obvious that Regan has identified the deadly creature's weakness. And they are now safe. Subscribe, and turn on the notification. You can also dislike, or like the video, to appreciate our hard work.